Good evening. I'd like you all to sit down. And we can begin. This is a special evening that we look forward to every year. Welcome to our 4th annual celebration of educators and school leaders. Make sure you have a drink. There's some snacks on the table. And then once the presentations are made, there will be a light dinner served outside, and you can go and get your food and come back to the table, mix with one another. And I think we should have a delightful evening. So we have quite a talented group to honor tonight. And I reviewed those who are getting awards. We have 2 teachers who participated in the new program. We have a distinguished educator living on Staten Island, a distinguished community educator, a distinguished Wagner College professor, a highly talented associate principal, a CEO of a charter school who is an inspiring leader for us all. This is quite an interesting and detailed process, this process of selecting our finalists. First, there are nominations from the community, and then we have an advisory committee who meets, and all the resumes and reference letters that are sent in and letters of intention that are sent in have their names removed from them so that any of the advisory committee who is looking at the information sees no names at all. So it is done anonymously. So those who were selected tonight were selected not because we knew their names, but was selected because of the work that they did. I would first like to introduce you. I would first like to introduce you to the advisory committee who is involved in this laborious work. And as I call your names, would you please come up? The first is Professor Joanne Kukuru, who is my assistant professor. She's been working with me all year long in teaching in the new program. Thank you. Stand right here. Poor Joanne just to stand for the whole thing. Wagner trustee, Aletta Diamond, who has been with us from the very beginning. Come on up. I should say, Doctor. Wagner College Department Chair, Karen DeMoss. I wrote everyone down so I wouldn't miss in person. Lavelle Charter School Director of Curriculum, Evelyn Finn. Did I get your title right?
It's pretty close.
Okay. She just got promoted. Community supporter, Dr. Mary Rose Barranco Morris. Community supporter, retired principal, PS 11, Hank Murphy. Doesn't he look very distinguished today? New World Prep Middle School Principal, Jamie Esperon. Director of Alumni Relations, Christopher Foreman. Christopher's a new member, and we'll be using more of him in the future. Get ready.
One. You can't scare me.
Director of the Center for Leadership and Community Engagement, Samantha Siegel. Community supporter, Liz Dentrona. Education Professor Katia Gonzalez. Education Professor David Gordon. Education Professor Rhoda Frumkin. Chief Development Officer Patrick Minson. Elementary Principal PS 53, Annette Esposito. It's not on this side. Port Richmond High School Principal Tim Gannon. Community supporter and educator Fran Myers. New cohort participant and Lavelle High School teacher Michelle Chayowski. There's a lot of people. New cohort participant and New World Prep middle school teacher Drew Tarloff. Please give them all a resounding. Yes, but after these events are over, we're taking a group picture for the Staten Island events.
Oh, how nice.
There are others I would like to acknowledge who are in the audience. First, let me acknowledge a very special person to me. We are celebrating our anniversary tomorrow, and this is Wagner College President, Dr. Hubert. And then Dean for Integrated Learning, Associate Professor of the Evelyn L. Spiro School of Nursing, Patricia Tucker. Executive Director, Project Hospitality, Reverend Terry Troyer. Lavelle High School Principal, Chris Zielinski. have some new cohort participants. Jennifer Brown. And Rachel Smith. And where is Rachel? Finally, oh, and then one person who just came in who's a part of the new cohort, Kim McLaughlin. Finally, there are three crucial people who are important to tonight's success. Betty McComiskey. Manchester, who is the historian on the campus. He keeps track of all that's going on. I would now like to invite Dr. Richard Arazi up for welcome remarks.
I mentioned to Karen, thank you by the way, I mentioned to Karen that Deidre DeAngelis is sitting here, and Eric, a wonderful assistant principal, she said, I'm not allowed to say that until later, so I didn't say that. So, let me just say a few words. Why are we here? What do we do this for? Why do we have this presentation? Is it to make ourselves feel better about ourselves? It's to give out some kind of splashy awards for the sake of giving out awards? It's not that. It's the fact that we have two important narratives that we have to address. One narrative is this incredible attack on teachers and principals that goes on, and the school system that's going on, independent of whether they're private schools, Catholic schools, public schools, charter schools, but this whole anti-educational narrative that seems to have surrounded us, and it's found its way to higher education as well. One horrible situation where we're blaming teachers for the challenges that they face in the classroom. We're blaming principals because scores aren't where somebody thinks they should be, and someone has based the quality of education based on some dubious testing scores. They're blaming teacher education programs for somehow not creating the kinds of teachers that they think we should have. They know very little about what goes on in teachers in classrooms and settings like this, in educational settings. That's one narrative. The other narrative is that we found ourselves with this incredible increase in inequality in our cities and in our country as a whole. We find at a time when we need more education, we need more support for students and teachers, we have less. Or we certainly have a criticism about providing what is needed. And so we here, because we're celebrating the work that's being done in place, in colleges, in K through 12, and pre-K, by courageous people who are putting their careers on the line, their every ounce of strength and energy they have to provide an educational environment that allows young people to thrive and flourish and find their level of competence and potential. And to help neighborhoods be transformed so they can take care of themselves in ways which are, in a sense, what the American dream is about. So this event, to me, is really about recognizing all of you and the work we do together in trying to change those realities, both those narratives. I was saying to Drew earlier, I had the chance to visit New World Prep a couple of years ago, one of my visits there, and something happened which just struck me right between the eyes. And you know, even though we all see children that we know we hope will succeed, or we see children who fail, who we don't think they should fail, and we have all those realities all the time at all our levels, every once in a while, you know, your guard is down and somebody hits you right between the eyes, and that picture stays in your head and becomes the picture that motivates you to do the kind of work you all do. So I was visiting Drew's class, and I was just saying this earlier, and he was teaching middle schoolers about hypothesis. I thought, wow, that's ambitious. We didn't learn about hypothesis until we were in graduate school. So this was really, now they of course earlier, but this was, I went to school in Lincoln, it was at the White House, so it's a long time ago. So I walked into this class, and I was so taken by the energy in the class. Drew was gifted in working with them, and creating a certain level of frenzy, but a certain level of creativity, focused on task. And there was this one young fella in the room who just fit every stereotype of a kid who was going to be a nerdy kid. He was overweight, he was a Mexican kid. He was going to be knocked around. The world in about 2 or 3 years was going to descend on him, and his chances of being successful were going to be diminished. The situation that we find ourselves in all too often. And yet this kid, this young fellow named Tanya, this one little Tanya had a level of imagination that just struck me. I was awestruck by his ability to invent a story with levels of detail and creative aspects to it. What an imagination. I'm saying to myself, there's the next Spielberg. There's a kid with an incredible, yet the chances of this particular kid, if he's typical, of getting out of this neighborhood and graduating from high school is about 50%. Right? It's about 50%, maybe less in some regards. I don't know what's all going to happen around him, but from issues of poverty, and issues of a lack of resources, and underfunded schools, to domestic violence, and violence in the community, gang, all these things that can happen to this youngster. I was saying, so I was driving back with Karen from the school, and I mean, she's lived this life, we've all lived these stories, but it was just this one day where my guard was down, and I couldn't get over this one youngster. Now, it turns out this is a success story. He's done very well. He's at Staten Island. It's an international school. He works at the Faber Community Center. He's got his own radio program. He's doing it. He's surviving it. But when you have the Tanyas in your head that you all see every day, that's what gets us up in the morning and says, we're not abandoning them. We're not leaving them alone. We're not abandoning them. The teachers are dedicated to them. No matter what growth patterns they have to go through, we'll get them there. Right? We'll support them. We'll unleash their creativity, no matter what structures we find, what funding structures we find, what politics we have to deal with. We can't leave them out. We can't abandon them. We are their allies. And that's the work that you do every day. And that's why I'm so proud to be here to celebrate that community act. Thank you very much.
I would like now to call Christopher Foreman up, and we'll be discussing Christopher Allen.
It's always tough to follow the president of the college. So my name is Chris Foreman, and I'm the Alumni Director at Wagner College, and I have the privileged pleasure to introduce a fellow alum tonight for the Distinguished Wagner Alumni Teaching on Staten Island Award. I share a special connection, aside from being a Wagner alumni, with Chris, in that when I was a class of 2009, so when I was a freshman, he was a junior. And I can remember feeling very overwhelmed coming all the way out here from the state of Ohio, being in New York City, and then all of a sudden seeing this guy walking around with an Ohio State hat on. And I thought, that guy's got to be a friend. And it also turned out that we were student athletes together. He was on the football team, and I can remember having a few conversations with Chris as we moved about on campus, and he always had that great smile, and was very warm and welcoming, and I'm happy to share that we're from the same state, so very cool thing. With that said, Chris is having a big day. He was also featured in an article on Staten Island Live today about a program that he is doing at PS 57. And what I find interesting about what I read today in the article is coming from Ohio. I don't know what it's like in Ravenna, but I know what it's like in Greenville, and we have a lot more cornfields than we have museums or culture centers or places where you can listen to great music. And so here you have this guy who came to Wagner College to play Division I football. He's rough and tough, and he's ready to play for Walt Hamline. And the article I'm reading today is about a guy who the budget was cut at his school for the arts, and he went out and found a grant to have this organization come in called Imagine Art to the school to do drama within the school, teaching students about social justice. The contrast of the guy who I know probably came to Wagner College in 2003, the guy that graduated in 2007, then again in 2011, 2011, 2013. He's been around a little bit. I share 3 degrees with him. Very nice. It's just astounding. And I'm so proud reading that article, knowing who you were and seeing where you are today. It's just such a cool thing. So, Chris graduated from Wagner, like I said, in 2007. Again in 2009, I'm sorry, not 2011, with a Master of Science in Education and Literacy. And then again, 2 years ago in 2013, with a Master of Science in Education. Obviously a very deserving individual. It's my pleasure to invite you up here to accept this award. Congratulations.
So I'll be 100% honest and say I have absolutely no idea when I have to say anything. But as I sat here and listened to everyone's names being listed as part of the committee, it hit me that so many of you need recognition for this as well, because I think in the last, in one of the degrees, I had 4 of you for 4 courses during the SBL. A lot of familiar faces from literacy and then all the way back to undergrad. So without those of you who served here at Wagner, I would not be here at all. I do want to share, I think, one of the lessons that I've learned from everyone at Wagner. It goes back to the last leadership program, and we were asked a question to reflect on the types of leadership skills that we had and wish we had or felt we need to work on. And through that lesson, I learned to reflect. Not just to reflect every now and then, but to try and take a little bit of time each day to think about what happened, what you can improve, what changes you can make, and what you would do differently the next day. And I think a lot of, what he had just mentioned, from going from football player to someone who's now fighting for the arts and doing things with technology, if it weren't for that lesson to reflect and see what brought you there, and the experiences that might be going on in front of you, and you could completely look past each day if you didn't take those 5-10 minutes to reflect and see how important they are, or the impact that something like the arts, something that I personally had no experience with, the impact that it can make on those kids. And once you see that, you start to fight for it. And that's another one of the lessons, that you can't always skate or walk the straight line that we often have to. We're told how many DOE people are here, so I'm not on DOE time right now. But I have learned, from some of the professors, that you might have to do something against the grain. You might have to question somebody who might have a different opinion or a different feeling. And without those times to reflect, without those experiences that I had here with the professors, I wouldn't have had that confidence and knowledge to question or go against the grain. So I want to thank everyone in the room from Wagner who I've had the pleasure of having classes with. Take it free over there. My family who made the long trip from Ohio, and my girlfriend who's been there for a really, really long year to get all of these things together. So thank you.
The new educators at Wagner program, and I'm so happy he's doing what he's doing today. I would like now to invite Jamie Esperon, Principal Jamie Esperon, to talk about Tanya Woolcock.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to President Arazi and to Karen Arazi, also a board member at Nouveau Prep, for holding this event. My name is Jamie Esperon, and I'm the very proud principal of Nouveau Prep. President Arazi has shared the story of Tanya, a recent graduate of Nouveau Prep, and I'm really proud to say, based on the quality report that came out, 93% of our graduates are on track to graduating from high school, and that's why Nouveau Prep was built. And the individual who had that vision to make it happen is actually in this room, and she doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but Terry Troy is here. It was carries vision and mission to make New World Prep happen, so she really deserves a lot of credit. So thank you so much. Privilege of knowing and working with Tanya Woolcock for 5 years when we opened in 2010 with 6 brand new teachers and myself and 125 students. As most of you may know from previous presentations, we have 4 guiding values: pride, respect, excellence, and purpose. And we give students prep coupons when they demonstrate those guiding values. If I had a prep coupon to give a staff member every day for demonstrating all those things, it would be Tanya Woolcock, because she demonstrates those every single day. And I want to highlight one of those guiding values right now, and that's excellence. Because when I walk into her classroom, it is excellence in action. Excellence in action. If any of you have seen the musical Wicked, if you're familiar with Wicked, and the song, there's a line in there that goes, because I've known you, I've been changed for good. If I could write that song for Tanya Woolcock, it would be, I've been changed for excellence. Because I kid you not, students, staff, anyone that walks in her path becomes better. It's hard to say that we expect and have high expectations for excellence. She lives that. And there's proof in the data. Last year, on the math state test, 75% of the students that came in improved their test scores. And she actually went above the standard in Staten Island and New York State for improvement in proficiency. And that's not easy. That is not easy. And that is excellence. Excellence in expectations. Another example, this year, the number of students transitioned from IEPs from 12 to 1 to ICT. Students who were performing at a kindergarten to 3rd grade level. You walk into that classroom, you could not tell the difference. Excellence in action. And I'm telling you, if you're a student, if you're a staff, you know you need to be excellent in her presence because that's what she does. She makes you better, and she's made me better. So it is truly an honor to invite Tanya up here and to be in her presence and to really say congratulations for this achievement.
Thank you. This is a little nerve-wracking for me. I've prepared a few words to thank the committee and
Use your teacher voice.
I'm just extremely humbled and honored to be receiving the new Educators at Wagner Distinguished Educator Award. I would really like to offer my sincere gratitude to the new advisory committee, to my principal, Jamie Esperon, to the board members of New World Prep Charter School, and to my fellow colleagues and Kristen Montalvo for just their continual support and guidance. I would also like to thank just the numerous people who have inspired and supported me throughout the years, and as I continue on my journey as an educator. Specifically, I just want to thank my parents, my family, for just encouraging me, for just for being amazing and understanding. And in addition, just my fellow educators at New World Prep Charter School. They're also just hardworking, dedicated, motivated, and they help our students just to strive for excellence. Each and every day, they're just as equally deserving of this recognition as I am, so I'm really grateful to be here today with you. It just means so much to me to be able to live my dream, to be able to work as an educator. For as long as I can remember, education, teaching has always been a part of my life. Being the eldest of 5 children, I would always help my siblings with their homework, projects, just helping them with anything that pertains to schoolwork. So for me, teaching has always been important. These experiences led me to realize that teaching was truly my calling in life. I switched my major in college from business to education, and since then I've dedicated my career to helping children become not only knowledgeable, skilled, and resourceful, but also to helping them accomplish their dreams. However, as Ron stated earlier, it's not an easy route. It's not an easy road. Many of the students that I teach today, they have a lot of several challenges. This year, I had the pleasure of working with 6th grade students who previously came from a 12-to-1 classroom setting and with several learning deficits, but we're now a part of a regular whole classroom setting of 25 students. Most of the students were performing on a kindergarten level when they entered my class this past September. However, I didn't let that determine who they were as mathematicians or as individuals. But by believing in the students, holding high expectations, and having a classroom culture that is built on positive reinforcement, perseverance, teamwork, and the model that everyone can be successful, the students surpassed their labels. Through motivating them to succeed every day, they were able to go from kindergarten level to performing near proficiency on a 6th grade level. It is truly an amazing event. Our students are able to rise to our expectations and even surpass them once we believe in them. As an educator, I'm passionate about just seeing my students improve academically and grow as individuals. In conclusion, let me just say I'm extremely honored and grateful to be receiving this award. However, just knowing that I have played or helped the students on their educational journey is rewarding in itself. I'm thrilled that I am able to live my dream as an educator and to be able to make a difference in the lives of my students and my community. So again, I just want to say thank you.
That was beautiful, and teachers do perform miracles. Now I would like to invite Evelyn Finn, Director of Curriculum at Lavelle Preparatory Charter School, to talk about
So, it gives me an awful lot of personal pride to introduce Brendan Ingram as the 2015 winner of the Wagner College Distinguished Educator Award. During the process of deciding who would win these awards, there were many documents. Karen had them all laid out. Am I telling the truth? All anonymous. And everything was reviewed. Names were excluded, but for instance, in Brendan's, Principal Chris Zielinski said that Brendan's passion for history was contagious, and he leaves his classes with that same passion. He had student recommendations as well that called him motivated, and that he takes time out of his schedule to make sure that students understand what's going on. One student said, "He has been by my side, pushing me to go the extra mile and face my problems." Brendan is a career change person who craved a more meaningful, challenging, and varied life than the one he had as editor of a large publishing company. After the tragedy of 9/11, he wanted to make a change in the world and help students see the connections between past and present. He acknowledges that teaching is the most difficult job he's ever had. We can all agree to that. And also the most rewarding, and we can all agree to that. One of the most transformative moments that Brendan had was with a class learning about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, the Reconstruction Amendments. When Brendan asked students to draw parallels from the 1860s, 1960s, and current day, one student shared his admiration of those who came before him. He realized many people whom he would never know sacrificed in many ways, and due to their actions, his life is better for it. This student also said that it was his responsibility as a citizen to be more aware of events that affect people so that he can perhaps help the lives of children who are not yet born. I've seen Brendan grow as a teacher for these last 5.5 years. He's brought life to a joint program between Lavelle Prep and Richmond Town, making a historical trial of the 19th century come to life. He never distinguishes between general ed students and special ed students in our inclusive setting. He served as co-team leader and is the scheduler for middle school and high school. Am I right? But most importantly, Brendan is a delight to work with. Congratulations, Brendan. Come on up.
I prepared some bullet points, not a full series of speeches here. And I meant to print it up this morning, but I forgot to, so.
Busy scheduling.
Right.
Or
so,
teaching.
Yeah, but let me just first start by saying it's very nice to be recognized. I rarely seek that out, and I don't really go head over heels for when it happens. But it's very nice to be appreciated like this, and I appreciate it very much. Like you said, I really enjoy teaching, even though it's the hardest job I ever had. I know it's a cliche, you know, it's the hardest job that you'll ever love is what they say, and it's absolutely true. I especially love teaching the students at our school. The student population, I mean, you know, the old welcome back kata, you know, the sweat highs might apply to a healthy amount of more students, but that just endears them to be that much more. They're a wonderful group of kids, and I'm glad we're going to see the first group of them graduate next year, and it'll be really nice to see them move forward, and I hope that they can experience something like this someday. The small class sizes and like I said, the dynamic personalities in our school make it a pure joy. There's only 17, 18 kids in each class. You get to know a lot of the kids on levels I think a lot of other teachers might not be able to enjoy, and it makes it very fun. Like I said, it's more important for me for the students to understand reasons why things have happened. And I don't want the students in our school or any student anywhere to really just sit by passively and watch history and current events pass them by. I want them to be active members. I don't want them to leave school ignorant. I want them to stay active. I want them to make a difference for what it's worth. Another cliche, but you know, a real one. Also, like you said, I became a teacher after 10 years of being an editor, and that was a boring job. I mean, it was fun. I had a nice office. I had a great view in the city and all that good stuff, but it was really boring. Every single day there was 300 pieces of paper for me to edit, and I would pass it on to another department, and the next day the 300 pieces of paper would be there again, but just for a different manuscript. It was very dull, it was very boring, and I wanted something more challenging. I came here, first year is always, another cliche guys, the roughest. It was hard, and I really do credit the new program for allowing me to be here today. It helped me and a lot of other teachers get through that first rough year, and I think if there were more programs like this, what's the percentage of people who leave teaching?
50% by 5 years.
5 years. So I'm 5 years now. 50% of people would leave. If they had more supportive programs like that, I think that number would increase drastically. So thank you. Let me also thank Lavelle Prep. Thanks for taking a chance to me back then, and the principal. Thank you, Ken. And now you, Chris. Again, thank you, Chris. All right, there you go. No, seriously, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. The school environment is fantastic there. I think if, not just the new program, if there were more schools like Lavelle where teachers were given a certain amount of autonomy, there would be a lot more success out there. A lot of the things that are happening might not necessarily work, but I think we're finding a way to do that. Thank you, everybody.
Brendan was in the New Educators at Wagner program, but it's a joy for me to see so many of these teachers really succeed And often they go into leadership programs, so it's a thrill to see. I would now like to invite Dr. Katia Gonzalez and Dr. Rhoda Duncan to talk about Desiree Arazi. This is the sexy trio, or duo, of the education department. With intellect. Oh, yes, beautiful and smart.
So we're very, very excited to be able to say a few words for Desiree. We're so honored to have this opportunity. And Rhoda and I, for the past couple of years, two to be exact, and entering our third year, have been working on a collaborative effort with our Port Richmond partners on developing a literacy and early childhood curriculum. And the initial goal of this curriculum was to help close the achievement gap, and then it developed into something much more important. The literacy work was there, but it was how to empower the moms in our community, in this case moms that came from different parts of Mexico, and then more and more moms were joining our programs. We had some from Santo Domingo join us as well. And how to empower the moms to know that they were doing literacy. The literacy learning that was happening perhaps looked different than the ones that we see at school here in the United States. But we didn't want them to lose their language, their traditions, their culture. We wanted to empower them to know that their work as parents was important and that we appreciated the work that they're doing every day. So it became a great challenge to be able to embark in this kind of curriculum that looked at dispositions of our Wagner Ed students, that looked at the dispositions that the moms brought into the program as well, and then how to work with parents, teachers from different cultures, different traditions that were willing, but perhaps didn't necessarily have all the skills needed to be able to establish a kind of relationship that all of us, not just Rhoda and I, but all of us in this partnership thought was an important one. So the work related to intentional intercultural exchanges started happening. We see a lot in the literature about intercultural exchanges and sharing about our traditions and cultures and language, but not enough about the intentionality that is needed for this kind of work. So what was great was that we had willing Wagner as students. We had the moms that were more than excited to join the program. We had amazing kids that we started with second graders, and it went from pre-K all the way to fifth grade, so week by week. It was a different kind of challenge that we had. And we couldn't do this kind of work without members or partners that are involved in a way that is very meaningful. And what Desiree has to offer is, not only as a colleague, but also now as a friend, is that sense of calmness that is needed in situations that what we like to call maybe structured chaos, or sometimes we're going to rephrase that structured flexibility that is needed. So we need a person like you, Desiree, that brings that sense of calmness, that sense of empathy, the willingness to step in and step out when it's needed, which is very important. The willingness to speak out and not be afraid to tell us when perhaps we're coming in all excited about the things that we want to try out and our students are all prepared, and you look at us like, okay, well, let's slow down and think about this a little bit more. So the willing to tell us this may or may not work, and work with us and improving and learning and having that ongoing assessment that is needed. So for me, it's been a pleasure to get to know you, and I look forward to hopefully the many more years that we will have. I'm so excited that the moms that thought were going to come into the program for just 1 year. It's a program that they come for 1 year, they invite other parents, and new parents come in. We keep having the old parents continue into the program, so it's growing in a way that we're very, very excited about. The Wagner Ed department and Karen helping us out throughout all of this has been unbelievably great. Terry too, just wonderful, the support. So thank you so much, and I'm speaking too much, so here's the
She's
program.
taking my part.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. So one of the things that's really important to notice is Desiree's job is not easy. Her role is to be a liaison among all of the different groups that we work with. So she's got to keep parents, the teachers, the administrators from the school, us, the kids working together. And that's not an easy job. But she does it with grace, and she does it with a smile on her face. And as Tanya mentioned, a sense of calm. So sometimes when things are getting a little frenetic around the work we're doing, it's Desiree that brings it down to a reasonable level. And I have to talk about one of my things, and she's helping me with my Spanish. We have one bilingual teacher, and we have one that's not. So part of Desiree's role is to make sure that I communicate properly in Spanish, so I'm learning. I want to read just one line that came from one of the recommendation letters. And it says that Mrs. Ari's strengths in working with diverse groups has been consistently evident. She's been instrumental in creating an atmosphere of communication and collaboration among all stakeholders. And that couldn't be more true. So Desiree, would you come up, please? Great to meet you.
Well, I am going to say thank you. It's wonderful people and honor to work and honor to work with Wagner. I feel it's like my house. I'm going to say thank you to Terry. Terry, she introduced me to this program. Karen Jackson also for being here. My family, my husband Carlos, Ryan, and Allison. Thank you, Ryan, for helping me in the process. And it's been a privilege to work in a program called Promotores, work with parents and the children. When the mothers come and say, my kids are improving levels in reading, I feel so happy. And see this mother feeding their kids, making sure that kids are doing homework, and going to ESL classes, everything 2 hours is wonderful. It's a privilege for me. It's so grateful. Thank you, Wagner, for this honor.
That was really inspiring. Thank you. I would now like to invite Samantha Siegel to come up and talk about Dr. Bernadette Ludwig. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having a lovely time tonight. I was looking at the program, and I realized that I have had the privilege and honor of working with every single one of you for the last 5 years. So it really is an outstanding group of people here, and really is such a special event. So thank you, Karen, for making sure that we have this tonight. There are people who come into our lives, and their presence is simply a gift of light, hope, and positivity. It is my honor to present the Distinguished Wagner College Professor Award to Dr. Bernadette Ludwig, Professor of Sociology at Wagner College. Dr. Ludwig joined the Wagner faculty a year ago and has survived her first year, and has given all of herself to both the Wagner College and Staten Island community. Dr. Ludwig did her undergraduate work and her studies in her home country of Austria at the University of Vienna, and received her PhD in sociology from the Graduate Center at the City University of New York. We're honored to have her dissertation advisor, Dr. Nancy Fauner, here in the room to celebrate the success of her. Along the way, Dr. Ludwig served as the executive director at a very young age of a nonprofit in Georgia, and the co-founder and executive director of Cultural Connect for New Immigrants. Dr. Ludwig exemplifies the Wagner plan through and through. She believes deeply in bridging higher education and community advocacy work, and she does it fearlessly. And for a new, untenured professor, that is scary stuff. She excels at connecting learning in the classroom to the real world, and she takes risks in her teaching every single day, tackling social problems that most students today just don't want to face. She doesn't shy away from the hard questions or the necessary work.
During her first year, she taught in the first year program, served as the Project Pericles liaison with me, helped the Wagner Emergency Task Force navigate very difficult questions around the Ebola crisis, working with our community partners, and is now actively working to start a food recovery program on campus with dining services. Most importantly, she continues her PhD work with the West African community of Park Hill with her Wagner first-year students, especially difficult work because that's not easy to get first-year students into such a challenging neighborhood, and she does it with grace and love, and she never rests. One of her students, Jessie Lynn Leston, former SGA president, had this to say about Dr. Ludwig. Dr. Ludwig motivates me to make a difference with any community I come into contact with. I love how she works with, how she takes what she has learned in the community and connects it to the classroom. She's given me so much energy, and she pushes me to be more culturally aware than I ever thought I needed to be. As a future special education teacher, Dr. Ludwig has inspired me to make my lessons and discussions come to life as do hers. She values experiential learning and has respect for diversity and cultural difference, which is something that I can only hope to embody as well as she does throughout my life and career. I can't think of any more of a wonderful colleague and friend to deserve this award, and someone who has brought so much energy and passion to this campus in just a few short months. It's my proud honor to present this award to my friend and colleague, Dr. Bernadette Ludwig, the distinguished.
Thank you. First of all, this is really an honor because a year ago, I was just here for the first year program, and I just started teaching at Wagner College, and I did not know what to expect, but I feel really I've become a part of Wagner College, and I could not thank the Wagner College community, the administration, the faculty, the first year program, and the Wagner College students more for doing that. I feel really, really welcome, and I just want to get this off my chest right away. I also would like to thank Karen and the committee for selecting me for this award. I really appreciate being able to connect things that I've done previously in my nonprofit work and teaching. And this, like when I read and I applied for this job here, I thought like this is a perfect fit because I like to do these things. And so I'm really happy to do that. I also would like to thank the Center for Our Leadership and Community Engagement, who has always been my partner in crime. Every time I dream up something like the food recovery program, which we're excited about, which basically will cost no money, Wagner College no money, and it will allow our students to collect the food at the end of the day, and it will be collected by somebody and will be taken to a shelter, and so that the broader Staten Island community can be benefiting for that. I also would like to thank again Nancy for being one of my biggest cheerleaders, like since I came to New York, and who has guided me through my entire professional development. Thank you also to Elizabeth, who has been my partner in crime as we were getting our PhD, as we were cheering each other on, and as we survived our first years as like full-time faculty members. Thank you also especially to Dane and Pat, not only for being my ferry buddies and knowing what it means to take the ferry and surviving the shuttle, I should say. But and finally, I would like to thank the Liberian community who have been so welcoming to me and to our students. And I look forward to taking our students again there in the fall and have them work with the African women to help them achieve their literacy levels and being able to become U.S. citizens. And finally, this is really finally, I would like to congratulate all my fellow awardees. Thank you.
Bernadette's sponsor, and she is delightful, and I know why Bernadette loves her sponsor. I have a sponsor who's working with me, and I adore her. You need a good person to work with, so great to have you. I do want to mention one more person who was able to join us, and it's Regent Christine Sia.
advisory committee, so here you are to give them lessons. Thank you. Christine's job is to take the information from Staten Island having to do with education and bring it up to Albany. We like Christine a lot. Next is a very, very important award, and it's in honor of a very special person who is here with us tonight, Hank Murphy. When we first started this program, we realized that many of the teachers could not afford the graduate tuition that it costed to take a 3-credit college course at Wagner. And Hank Murphy stepped forward, supported our efforts, and now the tuition for the teachers to participate is greatly reduced. And so we honor Hank with this special award, and it goes Hank was an outstanding principal in the community, and so this award goes to an outstanding assistant principal in our community. And I would like Principal Deidre DeAngelis to come on up and speak about Carolyn.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the committee for making this possible, because I think we've heard over and over again this evening how the individuals who are receiving the awards tonight are usually those people that aren't recognized on a regular basis, but do the hard work that some others get recognized for. So I want to thank the committee for honoring them. That's really special. And I also want to congratulate the award winners tonight. Tonight I have the honor and pleasure of introducing Carolyn Gannon to you, but I believe that it is only fitting to use a quote from her hero, Walt Disney, to begin the task. Anyone who knows her knows what I'm talking about. Walt Disney once said, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." That quote sums up Carolyn. She is a doer. For the past 17 years, she has been my partner in doing some really remarkable work at New Dorp High School. Let me share just a little bit. Carolyn Gannon has been at New Dorp since 1998, when she began her career as an assistant principal of guidance at New Dorp High School. As the most senior assistant principal, she has been a leader of instructional and structural reform, the leader of the instructional and structural reform effort at our school. I arrived as principal 1 year later, so she had a little bit of a head start. And she helped me on this journey to move a school from a failing status to a school that has now received national recognition as a reform model in the nation. Early in this effort, Carolyn led the strategic inquiry process, which utilized the Carolyn led the strategic inquiry process, which was utilized to identify the academic deficits of our students and appropriately and plan systematic interventions that would improve the student outcomes. Even though she was an administrator, and in most high schools, administrators did not take on the instructional work, Carolyn chose to be part of the inquiry work as well as our structural work, which is the small learning community work. When it came to structural reform, once again, Carolyn chose to lead one of our smaller learning communities, when the other 3 administrative assistant principals chose not to. The success of the Academy of Communication and Media Arts, or ACMA, if you saw in the picture with all the ACMA shirts, she created it and still supervises it today. It was the result of the planning and vision that her team had as they developed their collaborative examination of instructional practices and achievement data of the students. The creation of ACMA was not random. Carolyn and her team of teachers spent a lot of time researching the top careers that were available to college graduates. They were also focused on developing a program that would be eligible for the New York State CTE, Career and Technical Ed, approval. They succeeded at creating one of the most desired SLCs at New Dorp, And as of June 2014, I'm proud to announce that ACMA is an approved New York State CTE program, allowing students to graduate with a CTE endorsed diploma instead of just a regular high school diploma. Anybody who knows how hard it is to get CTE approval can really appreciate the process of going through to get that approval. It's quite difficult. It is hard to imagine that Carolyn can take on any more responsibilities than the ones I've just mentioned, as she also supervises a large guidance department at New York. She meets this department regularly and provides for them staff development, exposure to counseling in the community and all the resources that are available. She reviews the New York City academic policy to make sure that all of our students are on track for graduation. She discusses at-risk students, and the review of data is part of a regular practice. As a licensed counselor herself, she also spends countless hours providing counseling and support to students and parents alike. I would like to venture to say that she's one of the most skilled assistant principals in New York City. Assistant principals from around the city call for her advice, especially when dealing with the intricacies of DOE policy. Carolyn is a consummate professional who is more than happy to help out all those around. One of my favorite memories of working together with Carolyn came after Hurricane Sandy. We raised quite a bit of money at New York to provide support to our families. Carolyn was in charge of our mattress program. And you say, why mattresses? When we visited the homes of all the families that were impacted, and we had a large number, over 300 families that were impacted, what we found consistent was that out in front of every single home was a mattress or 2 or 3 or 4 that had been destroyed in the storm. Carolyn ordered large numbers of mattresses on her credit card. Sorry, Tim. And they were delivered to the school. They were stored in the school, and we picked days where parents would come in cars, or even staff members would come and deliver. Carolyn would be part of those individuals carrying those mattresses out of our school, out of the storage space, on top of the cars, tying them down, and escorting those mattresses to home so that our student would have a good night's sleep and be ready for school the next day. She's not all business all the time. She does a lot of planning of activities that are fun, exciting, and rewarding for our students. She likes to give them a full access to life. She has participated in our staff shows, planned student-faculty basketball games, and has chaperoned students on trips. Year after year, she takes her ACMA seniors to Disney. I have had the pleasure of attending 2 of those trips. Nobody knows Disney like she does. And trust me, she had us on a hard, fast schedule from morning to night. When I got back from Disney, I needed a 2-week vacation. She has led community service projects that raise money for Making Strides, American Heart Association, breast cancer awareness, and the March of Dimes, just to name a few. She also supervises the National Honor Society, installation, college fair, senior awards night, graduation, and ACMA awards. I don't think she really needs me there. I'm just there. She is a force behind so much of the success at New York, both inside and outside of the classroom, and I am so thankful to have her as a partner. It has truly been a pleasure for me to spend a little time reflecting on the remarkable contributions that Carolyn has made to the New York students and the support she has provided to the staff. I could keep you here for about another half hour if I was to share with you how much she means to me as a partner, a friend, and a colleague, but I would start crying. You would be here forever, so I'm going to stick to why I'm here. So I want to let you know that it is an honor to announce an outstanding school leader and a very deserving award recipient, and someone that we are very proud of, and I'm sure Walt Disney would be very proud of. Our assistant principal at New York, Carolyn, Gannon.
You come up and present the award to Carolyn.
Congratulations.
I am honored to receive the Hank Murphy Award for School Leadership because of my ongoing experiences in the world of Wagner College. For the past few years, I have been indoctrinated into the world of Wagner College every time Tim tells me a new story of the exciting work being done here on campus by so many of the students and faculty members. I am honored to receive this award because I know that this is a prestigious award, is Wagner College's special way of saying to the school leader, well done, and we are proud of you. That means a great deal to me. Many colleges and universities have a school of education, and yet here at Wagner, there is so much more to your support of education, as we see by the wonderful event here this evening. There seems to be a deeper vision of education and how we need to become engaged in student lives in order to make that vision a reality. From the Wagner Plan to the new program, to the Port Richmond Partnership, to the 30,000 Degrees program, there is excitement and a sense of urgency that is inspiring and makes this award so much more special because it comes from a college that I have such great respect and admiration for. A few weeks back, I had the good fortune to attend Wagner's graduation, and I came away with such a warm and uplifting feeling. There was a true sense of community celebrating during the ceremony at the same time that each graduate was celebrated for their special accomplishments. I have been telling everyone what a special ceremony it was and how each graduate was made to feel special, valued, empowered to do great things. That seems to be the Wagner College way of doing things. I am proud to now have my name associated with this great college and with service to the community, which is the foundation of the Wagner Plan. I thank you for bestowing this award on me and for the recognition of the great work being done by the New Dorp High School community. I am honored to be associated with my great principal and best friend, Deirdre DeAngelis, who herself is a renowned educational leader. Each day, we stand side by side with great counselors and teachers who come together as a true family to make New Dorp High School a very special place to work. This award is a reminder to all of us to keep working on our journey to positively impact the thousands of students who come to us each and every day. I would also like to acknowledge my family who is with me this evening. To my mom, to know a lot of people here. Thank you for inspiring me to become an educator. Your nightly tales of your experiences teaching math at Erasmus Hall and Port Richmond and later Monsignor Farrell made teaching sound like the greatest job in the world. Thank you to my sister Gail and my nephew Jack for helping me celebrate this night. And to my husband, who I follow in his footsteps, who received the same honor in 2012. I know no better role model than Dr. Tim Gannon. He is not only an exceptional educational leader, but someone who places such great value on all of the relationships that he has with his students, his parents, his former players. Thank you, Tim, for being a constant source of encouragement for me. And to Timmy Gannon. Go ahead, you can take a look at that. The ham of the family. Timmy is my daily inspiration and my joy, and I'm blessed to be his mother. And thank you to Dr. Garassi and Karen Garassi and the board members of the new program for the great honor and for energizing us all to keep this work moving forward. Thank you.
Very beautifully done.
just gives us inspiration to just keep this up, right? So the next award is very, very special. Another special one. It's a special. When this program started, it started way back in 2007. And I had worked at Columbia at Teachers College doing this there and worked in the schools of Holland. And the education department asked me to come and set up this program. And there was a very special person who worked along with me, and that was Dr. Stephen Prescott. And last year we named the Compass Award after him, and it was Compass because as the compass gives you direction, Stephen, for all of us in the education department, would assist us, and he would give us direction. It was very positive, and he helped create this program. And in his honor, we gave him a compass, and we told him every year after last year, we would select an educator who does the same thing, who leads us in a wonderful direction, who is very positive, who is a visionary, who thinks beyond what we can even imagine. And so tonight, I would like Dr. Richard Arazi to come up and to present the Compass Award.
Before I do that, let me just say that we have Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn here in the audience, Jack Gary, Jim Gannon, no incidents at all. Report back. It's very impressive. So it's my privilege, first of all, when you mentioned the name Stephen Presco and Karen, the wife and head of our education program right there. Everything Karen said is so remarkably true. Stephen, just an inspirational leader. He's off becoming a creative writer, as I understand, so in his retirement from Wagner. So this award goes to Ken Byalin. So let me just say a word or two about Ken. So when Terry Troya had the vision and the courage, along with a few others, to imagine a charter school for immigrants, predominantly for immigrants in Port Richmond, something that was so critically needed, she had the resiliency and the grit to see it through all the obstacles. And while that was happening, Ken Byalin had the same dream of a school that could become a model school of what it means to really truly take students who are on the edge, who were challenged, who were labeled ED, as I believe, or at least originally, and other schools might not have wanted, and create a school for them that would be, in the spirit of everything we celebrated tonight, a transformative experience, not a transactional experience, but a transformative experience. And he had, like Terry, he had the vision and the will and the grit, the resiliency to do this. And it was a lot of obstacles to get this started. But Ken has this quiet grace about him. He has this determination that is understated, but it's there right to the end. He's going to follow through to the very end. He has a way of empowering people around him. He's an intense listener. He's had to listen to me for a long time as well. But he's an intense listener. He really, what we call an active listener. And he gives such great strength to others. And he put together Lavelle School. So much like my New World Prep experience when I visited Lavelle for the first time, I was brought there in year 2, I believe. I think it was year 2. What first impressed me was with middle school, every classroom was named after a university or college. So there was the Cornell classroom, the Wagner classroom, the SUNY New Paltz classroom, and so on and so forth. He was taking these students who were labeled behavior problems, and he was saying to them the day they walked in, you're going to college. You're getting back on track, or you will be at track, we'll meet you where you are, and you're going not only to finish this school and high school, you're going to college. And I was so amazed by that, and it was a school that had a lot of order to it. I was impressed by that, given what I knew was a challenging student climate that he had inherited and taken on. He had the intelligence to hire Evelyn Finn right away. It's a smart move. A good leader knows how to hire people. always finding talent. That's what a leader does. Find talent and unleash it. Give it support, give it kind of the ability to be creative and innovative, to fail, to take risks, but to move forward. And Ken has that all about him. So I go to the school, and then they take me to the Wagner College room. I'm met by, I don't know, 25 students or so, incredibly enthusiastic, who then begin to give me a history of Wagner College, a recited history of Wagner College. And then they take me through the curriculum of Wagner College. These were 7th graders. And I'm saying, do all of our advisors at Wagner, our faculty advisors, know how to do this? Because I'm not sure I had to do all this. They knew every aspect of the Wagner plan, the distribution requirements, the graduation requirements, and they're going through this as if they're, you know, pros at this. Then they take me to a science classroom, and there are 3 or 4 students with their goggles on and their Bunsen burners, and they're melting down chocolate, and they're putting it into glacial formations and rock formations. They've been studying geology, or what we call earth science, and they are explaining to me, social scientists, more geology in 5 or 10 minutes than I ever learned in elementary school or high school. And I'm so amazed at their commitment to this. And Karen whispers in my ear, standing next to me, these students couldn't sit still for 5 minutes last year. Here they are, running a research project, melting down chocolate, making them into formations, they solidify, and they're explaining to me the geology of these different rock formations. And it also creates a sense of joy and whimsy in the school, because the students explain to me the best part of this is that we get to eat the chocolate at the end of the day. So, first thing was Lavelle Middle School. Now we're starting an elementary school and a high school. That doesn't stop. Ken sees problems, he sees challenges, he sees issues, he goes forward. So many of you in the room. So now there's the new Ventures program. Ken came to me one day and says, let's go to lunch. We probably went to the Roadhouse or some place that we both liked. It was quiet enough to have a conversation. And he says, I have this idea to educate students who dropped out of high school. And I said, oh, this is, you know, everybody has a limit. Everybody finds a point that you can't get over. This is going to be it. Ken, I'm saying to myself, don't go there. And he begins to explain to me his plan for this school. Now, I'm sure it's changed a little bit, but this was the original plan as I understood it. He was going to take students who dropped out, who were 18, 19, 20, possibly even 21 years old, up to 21. And he said, we're going to start, because they've already failed at school, we're going to start the school day at noon. They can't handle regimentation. They're going to take one course at a time. A program that they have actually at Colorado College, where you take just one course like each term, so to speak. They're going to march through it this way because we know they can handle, you know, it in small pieces. But we're going to start their day in the field. Talk about Wagner plan. We're going to start them in the field where they're doing field work and having direct experience in the community, whether it's civic or pre-professional, spiritual learning. And then we're going to bring them to campus at 3 o'clock. And then they're going to start learning that one subject. And I was knocked out. Sign me up. Where do I go? Can I teach in the school? Where do I? What a vision. I mean, how it plays itself out as we go through this process of getting this approved and moving forward, that is a genius of a design. And the fact that he can salvage 50% of those students who failed in high school, think how much better we are as a community than one as a society. What a brilliant vision. And he has the determination and the grit and the grace and the love of his children to do this. So it's my pleasure to present this award to you. Thank you so much for it. So Lee can take his picture.
He's taking a video.
He's taking a video. He's waving at us and saying go. He can't hear anything you're saying.
So you can speak.
Thank you. I told Diane this morning, don't worry, I don't have to make a speech. It's an honor, really, to receive this recognition on behalf of all the people at Lavelle Prep and beginning new ventures who do this work. That's what makes it real. Nothing would happen without them. This would just be all philosophy. And it's really very special to us to get this honor from Wagner and from the new program. When we started planning Lavelle Prep, there were two statistics which I was obsessed with. One was the fact that the highest dropout rate of any group in the United States from high school, they group them by disabilities, because kids with disabilities generally drop out at much higher rates than anybody else. But among people with disabilities, students who are living with emotional challenges and mental illnesses have the highest dropout rate. And we thought that shouldn't be. The second statistic that we obsessed about, Brendan referred to earlier, a little over 50% of the young people who enter education in the United States leave the field within 5 years. Very few people talked about the needs of kids who are living with emotional challenges, and almost nobody talked about the tremendous waste of talent that we had in this country, of so many bright young people coming out of college wanting to be teachers and throwing in the towel within 5 years. Almost nobody is talking about that. And all this stuff that's going on, and Richard talked about this narrative about education and what's going on, and a lot of the narrative seems to be about how bad teachers are. The stunning statistic is that half the people who set out to be teachers quit right away because they get tired of this abuse. Very few people are talking about it, and as you might imagine, almost no one is doing anything about it. And one of the few people who's been trying to do anything about it is our friend Carolyn. Thought she was taking her life in her hands, probably, when she came to find us. That first summer, we were training the staff at South Beach Psychiatric Center, and she had to go through the metal detectors and these locked doors to get inside, to talk to us about the new program. And she confessed afterwards she wasn't entirely sure she was going to get out.
There were bars on the doors.
But
where do you have these kids?
We are thrilled that she got in and she got out. I think the last time we counted, over 1/3 of our teachers at Lavelle Prep had been through the new educators program at Wagner. Something like 99% of them are doing terrifically well. Nobody's perfect, but it's made a tremendous difference. We have very low turnover. I mean, we're now in our 6th year. We've hired almost all new teachers. We've retained 90% of the teachers. We think that is a good thing, not a bad thing. And Karen and the new program have been a tremendous part of that success. So that this is an honor that we will bring back to the school, which we are very, very, very proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. That's nice to hear the statistics. And of course, now Ken has approached me for doing another course. And I said, okay, let me go talk to the president of the college and see what we can do. So he's always thinking about expanding. Well, that's it. Let's give our awardees a resounding but I have two groups that I would like to remain here because Lee would now like to take some still pictures. And one is those who have been honored this evening, and the other is the members of the new advisory committee. Lee, which would you like first?
Award winners.
The award winners first, and then we'll do the honorees. And Lee is a very special person to us. He's all of our historians, but any of the pictures he's taking today, he's sending to the Staten Island Advance with an article. So we hope it will be in the